To the Rewards Master Live. Uh, we have had technical difficulties again. I think I'm starting to figure it out, but I'm going to have to ask some of the experts, the gurus in the space, how to do this more efficiently because I think I tried 4 times before I finally got it to work. Hey, Mike, good afternoon, buddy. Thanks for being a channel member. Appreciate you. Uh, I've got a few things to discuss today. We'll see how well this works. I'm hoping to be able to get a regular routine, but with my work schedule and family and everything else, it's hard for me to just designate one particular time every week. So I have a few things to discuss. First of all, I want to talk about the use case for airline credit cards. I've been, it seems like every video that you watch in this space is always dogging on airline credit cards and basically kind of makes the assumption that everybody agrees they're the worst thing and just for newbies, and that people who understand the points and miles game wouldn't rely upon those at all. In fact, I just saw a video earlier today that somebody got an airline credit card. I think that was the platinum card from Citi for American Airlines. And it was almost like apologizing because, well, this card doesn't have a lot of utility, or, I know people don't think this is a very good card. And I've been reflecting on it a lot lately because I have American Express Business Platinum. So I get that's my one of my high level credit cards. We have the Venture X. Both me and my player two have the Venture X. So we have that one. I've had the other cards like the United Club card. I've had the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. And everybody talks about those transferable currencies being the very best and better than anything the airline cards can provide. But as I've been doing my own math, particularly, I do a lot of kind of value travel in that I'm not doing cheap travel. I'm doing very, very expensive travel, but I'm trying to get it for the best cent per point value that I can. So if something's cheap, if it's just a couple $100 flight, we pay for it. If it's, a hotel room that doesn't cost that much, we pay for it. We wait to get outsized value with our points. So a recent video that I did talked about how I try to get between 3 and 6 cents per point with my miles. And I do that with the transferable currencies. But some of the best ones that I get that outsized value with are things like United and American and Alaska points, because those points are extremely, extremely valuable if you only use them for kind of extravagant type travel, flying on Qatar in Q suites, or flying on Etihad in business class, or JAL, Japan Airlines. I mean, if you use them that way. So I started kind of doing a little bit of investigation and asking myself, well, which is actually turns out being better. So if you look at something like the American Express Platinum or Business Platinum, where you're getting like 5 cents per point on airline flights, or 5 cents per dollar on airline flights, and then you look at something like the American Airlines Executive card or the United Club card, both of those give 4 miles per dollar spent. Now, the Delta Reserve's a little worse, and I'm probably not talking about that one because Delta miles aren't worth very much, but United's can be, and additionally, Americans really can be. So you're losing 1 cent, 1 point per dollar spent on buying flights if you're buying with that airline. But then I got to thinking about the other perks. So you don't get free bags. You do get a flight credit that you can use for bags with the Platinum card, but you don't get free bags. You do get it with those. You don't get an elevated boarding experience. And it's big time different to board in group 3 than to board at the end of the line, because you're going to almost for sure get overhead bin space. And then what about the lounge access? So everybody touts that, American Express has the very best. And like I said, I have the Business Platinum. Yesterday, I went into the Dallas American Express Centurion Lounge. So I'm very familiar with them, but they don't give guests for free. That's one thing. The other thing is that, you have to switch terminals to get to them. So, I mean, we often don't try to schedule flights that are, have a layover of 3 hours. We want to get to where we're going quickly. So sometimes we only have a 50-minute layover or an hour and a half layover. And to switch terminals to go to an airline club, you're going to get 5 minutes in that club, if you can even do it at all. But if you're flying with a United Club card on United, there's going to be a United Club in their major hubs. If you go to Houston, they're everywhere. If you go even to Denver and you're in the United terminal, there's a club within just 5 minutes walk. If you go through DFW and you've got an American card, you can, if you got a 40-minute layover, you can pop in the club, get something to eat, get something to drink, and then still make it to your gate just fine. I mean, I have found over and over, having all this lounge access, the ones I use probably 5 times as often are the clubs that are associated with the airlines and those airline credit cards. And you say, yeah, but like the Venture X card, it gives you 2 points per dollar on everything you spend. Yeah, but what are Capital One points worth compared to, say, American Airlines miles? Well, by my estimation, Capital One points, I can get, if I do the same thing and just use them for outsized value transfer partners, I can get 3 to 4 cents a piece, but I can get 4, 5, 6 cents a piece for American miles. So is it really that different at the end of the day, if you travel like I do? Now, I understand somebody who's just trying to pay for everything, like kind of Dugras describes his travel strategy, which is a fine travel strategy. But if you're looking for outsized value, I'm not sure that those airline specific cards aren't just as good of a premium travel card as some of the, what we think of as transferable premium travel cards. Let me know if any of y'all, I think we got 5 signed in right now, if any of y'all have any other ideas or questions about it. But that's just, I'm starting to shift little by little. In fact, more and more all the time, that my airline specific cards, I'm not sure that at the end of the day, in my particular travel strategy, that I'm not getting more value from that than I would from just using my American Express Platinum or Venture X or Chase Sapphire Reserve or one of those. So let me know what you think in the comments. The second thing I wanted to talk about is I have been extremely frustrated of late because I have been a status flyer. I fly for work. I don't fly as much as the guys who are reward warriors who fly every week, but I probably fly 1 to 3 times a month, depending. So I'll take 15, 16, 17 trips a year and, paid trips. And so I can pay for that and then get reimbursed. So I get a lot of miles that way. But one of the things I've loved about airline status through the years is that when I was gold with United, and I was gold for years, and then I made platinum for 1 year, I was being upgraded. And I mean, not flying out of one of their hubs, because I don't fly out of Houston or Denver, but not flying out of one of their hubs, say 4 or 5 years ago, right before pandemic, I was getting upgraded probably 40% to 50% of the time. And then when I moved to platinum, I was being upgraded maybe, 60% of the time to fly in the front. And then I switched over to American. And about 2 or 3 years ago, as a Platinum Pro, and then later an Executive Platinum, I was being upgraded probably, again, 50% of the time. The time I was an Executive Platinum, I was upgraded probably 60 or 70% of the time. And then with Delta, even last year, I was a Delta Platinum, and I was upgraded up to Comfort Plus all the time, because you kind of get those automatically, but to the front maybe 2 or 3 times, so it was less. But what I have found in like the last year, I don't think I've had an upgrade at all. Well, no, I got to correct that. I had one upgrade because I had leftover silver status on United, and I got upgraded with I was actually in my economy seat. The lady came on board, came and got me and moved me up to the front with silver. But with my Platinum Pro and my Platinum, with respectively American and with Delta, I haven't been getting any upgrades at all. And I'm like sometimes 6, 7, 10, 15 down on the list. I don't know what's going on, but something has dramatically changed, at least in my experience. And remember, I don't fly out of a hub city. I fly out of a kind of not a regional airport, it's an international airport, but a kind of more of a local airport, that all of them are kind of about the same amount of flights, with United, American, Delta. So I wonder if others have had that experience, but I probably won't chase very high status anymore if it's just not going to get me anything, because I can have the lower status and still get priority boarding and stuff. Kay says, thank you for talking about actual value. I hear a lot of creators mentioning how they'll get more points per purchase with a card, but the reward points they get, they don't or can't use. Yeah. I mean, for me, the actual value is what I'm actually going to use it for. And we have enough where we have a budget for travel. We spend that budget on the cheap stuff, and we use our points on stuff that we simply couldn't afford to take. I mean, we're flying Etihad later this year to the Middle East in business class, and that flight's like $11,000 if you bought it outright. Now, I am going to say this because there was a comment on one of my videos I did about outsized value. Somebody said, yeah, but you got to really compare it to if you bought the points. And that was a good point. And the specific example that he used was you can get a flight for 60,000 points in business class on Air France, and you could purchase sometimes those points to where it would cost you in the neighborhood of $900. So really, the points aren't worth the $3,000-$4,000. And yeah, I suppose that's kind of true. I guess I have two ways of looking at it. There is a sense in which if you can chase another deal, which would be buying the points on sale at the right time and using those, then yes, it would not compare as favorably to getting that other deal. But still, there are people paying that $3,000, $4,000 for those tickets. So if you go into a store and you get a deal that's 90% off for that day, and then tomorrow people are paying the full 100% price, you still got a deal, even if that deal's going to come up again someday. And so I guess for me, I still think the cent per point value is accurate in the sense of what something is worth, because things are only worth what people are willing to pay for them. And airlines do get that $3,000 to $4,000 for a ticket, or like in Etihad's case, I guess $11,000 for a one-way ticket in business class. So thank you, Kay, for that. I appreciate that. So is the airline status getting worse? Is it even worth it at all? So I'd be curious in the comments after this video posts if anybody'd like to share their experience, because for me, I'm just not getting upgrades anymore. And it's like, why do I go all the trouble if I'm not going to get that major benefit? The third thing I wanted to discuss today was, how do you manage multiple fees in your budget? So a lot of us who are kind of more advanced in this travel hobby, we will have 10, 15, 20, sometimes upward of 30 credit cards, and some of them have annual fees. And I know you probably had the same experience I do sometimes, is you'll talk to friends and you'll be talking about, because you're excited. I mean, we talk about the things we're excited about, and we are excited about this. So we'll talk about it, and people are like, you pay $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 in annual fees. Yeah, but I get it back because I use my Uber credits, and I use my Grubhub credits, and I use my Delta Stays credits, or whatever it may be. And that just, people think that's crazy. I mean, I get that all the time from people, even people who are pretty financially savvy, and I would have thought could see the benefit. But the comment that I often get, and I actually got it on an airplane, I think Thursday when I was flying, and I was talking to a financial planner guy, and he's like, I explained it to him. We were talking about it, and he said, you go to all that trouble? And I said, yeah, but I like it. It's fun. And I mean, I said, you play golf or anything? He said, well, yeah. I said, that takes some trouble too. It's your hobby. This is my hobby. So that's kind of the way that people see it. But it did make me realize a lot of people probably don't know or wouldn't know where to begin to manage all of those high annual fee credit cards. So I'm curious how other people do that. You can put it in the comments if you have a system. My system is I have a line item in my budget for annual fees in my personal family budget. And I deduct those annual fees from that category of my budget. And then when I get credits back, I add that back in. So I really only budget for the kind of the net annual fee amount because I'm getting refunded on the rest. So that's how I do it. But I think that's the part that really, really scares a lot of people. QMan 2000, QC Man 2000, excuse me, says if you have high annual fee cards, you have to be brutally honest about whether the credits are organic or not. And I think what he's meaning by that is that, yeah, am I manufacturing spend? I don't mean manufactured spending like buying gift cards and stuff, but am I manufacturing spend? In other words, what I've used that Grubhub credit. Now, in my case, it's kind of yes and no, because in my case, I eat out every day at the office. So, and sometimes I'm eating with coworkers or whatever, but sometimes I'm eating by myself. So when I'm eating by myself, I will use the Grubhub credit. I was going to go out to eat anyway. It does cost me like an extra dollar because the prices are a little bit more, sometimes $2, but I'm still getting back probably 80% of that. So I think that, I mean, the Delta stays, stuff like that, I'm going to be using a hotel anyway. Somebody might say, yeah, but you could have got a little cheaper on another site. And maybe that's true. But yeah, I think QC Man 2000, that's absolutely true. A person has to be very honest with themselves. It's just like anything in money. With money, people will chase deals. I've had friends, my wife has friends that, I mean, they're just shoppers supreme when it comes to great deals. And wow, they will go after those deals. They find something, a great deal at Target, and they'll spend like $500 more than they were going to. Well, you have to be honest with yourself then. Yeah, it was a great deal, but would I have bought that anyway? And I think that's what you're getting at. And that's absolutely true. So thank you for that. He also said, you're the Tiger Woods of rewards travel, I guess. Well, I guess that's true, depending on, that might be a compliment or not, depending on what period of life for Tiger Woods you're talking about. He's had his issues. So, well, thank you for that. Dugras, Doug, my buddy, he gave me a dollar super chat. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. I think that's the second one I've ever got. So that's, I mean, you'll always be remembered for that. I appreciate that. So he also said explaining annual fees to normies is almost impossible. That's exactly what I'm trying to get at. I mean, folks just look at you like you're nuts, like you're crazy, or like you're completely financially irresponsible. And I'm the kind of person, I've always had I did Dave Ramsey's envelope system for years. You want to talk about people thinking that you're nuts? Go to the bank when you get your paycheck and take out most of your paycheck, that which you don't need for like mortgage and car payments, stuff like that. Take out most of it in cash and ask for ones, fives, tens, 20s, and 50s and put it in envelopes. And that's, the tellers will think you're nuts. They also don't like to see you coming. But I did that for years and years and years. So now I use a digital envelope system and I track every dollar I spend. It's just natural to me. I'm just highly disciplined about those kind of things. And that's the thing, is that people who aren't highly disciplined about finances, I'm not sure they should do this travel hobby anyway, because the game is, the banks, they're playing a game. I mean, for all of us who get outsized value, there are 99 people who are paying interest or they're not getting their credits back. So yeah, I mean, what I often do if I'm talking to friends or whatever, I'll start down lightly down the road of points and miles. And as soon as I see them get that look, that you're crazy look in their eye, then I back off and I just don't talk about it anymore. That's how I do it. So thank you, Dugras. Number 3, QC Man 2000, $1.99. Hey man, thank you so much. I could do Dugras's thing, but I don't want to steal it, the celebrate thing. But that is exciting. Thank you so much. So Frugal Dad Finance says, hey Doug, I showed my wife your wall of cards and she looked at me and said, don't be that guy. Absolutely. I mean, what's crazy is even in my own family, now I've got my kids, they're all grown and they kind of do points and miles lightly. Like they'll transfer their points to Southwest Airlines, stuff like that. They do they'll use the Chase travel portal, but even they think that Dad's just out of his mind the way that he does this. So Mike Newland, $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Mike. He's a channel member. For those of you who don't know, my channel membership, it's $2.99 a month. And You can cancel anytime. And I put out videos every week that are kind of for channel members only. But I also, since my kind of part of this game is I try to get outsized value on trips that I couldn't afford, and I use my points that way. I research different places you can go different times a year, and I let the channel members kind of vote on polls of where to go and when. And then I do the research on great redemptions. And so that's available at channel memberships. You can check that out. Okay, QC man, do you have to modify your Ramsey views to get into credit cards, or did you never buy into his views on credit cards to begin with? Well, I believe, because he irritates me like to no end when he talks about credit cards, because he just seems, I think the guy's super smart, and his system really helped my family. I mean, it got us financially in a way better place, but it seems like he's irrational on the subject of credit cards. And I think the reason why is because he's dealing with a mass of people. His clientele are people who are bad with money. And so, he's helping people to dig out of debt, to not have all that debt. And I think that what it is he just knows it's probably very hard to manage you have to have a high level of discipline. In other words, I would feel great if he would say, you shouldn't do the credit card game until you're completely out of debt, and you should never pay any interest, or something like that. But I think he just doesn't want people to say, well, I'll be that person. I'll be the disciplined person, and then dive into and get themselves into more trouble. Maybe that's why. But no, I never really bought into that before, because I just was never going to pay 30% interest on anything in my life. So that's kind of, I guess, I just kind of spit out the bones, eat the meat, spit out the bones with Dave Ramsey's stuff, because I think it is the tracking your finances, the envelope system. I use a digital envelope system, and I still do that to this very day. So it gave me some great habits, but I just don't. I mean, for years, Dave Ramsey said you shouldn't buy a house with a mortgage. I mean, so everybody should wait till they're 60 to buy a house? I mean, that's just unrealistic, especially today. So yeah, I think he changed on all of that. So QC man, then we go Dugras, Frugal Dad Finance. Uh-oh. All right, Rodrigo Mendez. Frequent Miler talked about how you can apply for back-to-back City Premier cards and trick the algorithm, trick the algorithm into getting 275,000 bonuses. Is that true? I don't know. And the reason I don't know is I'm not willing to try that. I'm not an intro bonus hunter in the sense that I get 10 cards a year or 12 cards a year for me and my player too. That's just not how I play the game. I have quite a bit of natural spend, both work and personal. And so I can get a lot of points through my spend. And then we try to get 5 cards a year is what we try to do. So I get one every 6 months. My player 2 gets one every 6 months. We stagger those. So like I'll get one, then 3 months later she'll get one, then I'll get one, then 3 months later she'll get one. And then in there, I'll get 1 or 2 business cards as well. So my velocity is not as fast as a lot of people's. And the reason it's not is I was getting really irritated when a couple years ago, I had a really hard velocity, and it would frustrate me that I was getting denial after denial after denial. And it's really hard to know exactly why. I mean, their letters don't tell you, they're not going to tell you if you call them. So I found that if I space it out every 3 months, one for me, 3 months later for her, then one for me, I pretty much don't ever get any denials that way, because I stay under the Chase 524 and all of that business. So I can't tell you, I can't answer that. I wish I could. But I will say, if the frequent milers guys say so, they're some of the best in this space. So I would say they probably know what they're talking about. Okay, Kay says, my logic for effective annual fees is how much my redemptions cash value are at booking. So far this year, I'm at 5,500 in ticket prices and bags for a family of 4. My annual fee are now zeroed, so credits are the icing. Hey, that's a pretty good way to do it. So he's figuring his annual fees based upon what kind of value he's getting from his points. I don't really factor that in. I kind of see them as 2 separate buckets. So there's not a right or wrong way to do it, but I think that's probably a pretty good way to do it. Kay also says, I also just throw the annual fee into my monthly budget savings and go about my day. So that's kind of me too. I have a line item in my budget, take care of annual fees from that. So um, the next thing I had on my list here is I really want to start accumulating Alaska points. I have probably burned 100,000 Alaska points in the last month. And I got those by transferring over to Hawaiian from American Express and then transferring over to Alaska. But I'm not sure. I haven't had great experiences in the past with bank accounts with Bank of America. I'm not sure if I want to apply for one of their cards or not. The Hawaiian cards are going to go away. I'm not sure I want to do that. But I have the Built card, and Built has a transfer agreement with Alaska. And so I got to thinking about it. I kind of already have an Alaska card if I use it for my spending. And, especially if and for a while I was super disciplined. I used to have a Wells Fargo mortgage and I would actually pay it. I learned that from John R., by the way. And it was really helpful. With Wells Fargo, you can pay your mortgage with the Built card and you get the points and it doesn't cost anything. But I was doing that. I ended up don't have that mortgage anymore, did some changes. And so I haven't been using my Built card a lot. But while I was doing that, I was going on the first of the month and buying gift cards at all the places I knew I'd eat that month, because there are places my wife likes certain places to eat. So and then I don't get much say in that. I mean, y'all might have it different in your household, but I don't get a lot of say about the places I want to go. So thank goodness I like most things. So we go where she wants to go. And so what I just do is at first day of the month, I'd go around to restaurants and buy gift cards to all the places I know she's going to want to go. And I would get 6 points per dollar. Now, then they nerfed it. And I still, 1,000 points is still pretty good extra. So I still do some of that. But I'm just wondering if maybe a better plan is just to use especially if they bring on this mortgages like they say they're going to, I'm definitely going to start using that Built card. But I might even use it at least that once a month strategy for those Alaska points, because 6 points per dollar on dining to get Alaska miles, and Alaska miles are great. So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about that. Be curious some of your thoughts on it. QC Man 2000, 200,000 MR points on only 10,000 spend in 3 months. Note the lifetime language is apparently out there for the business gold. Wow, 200,000. I just got the business gold not long ago and I didn't get that much. I think I got 125,000 for 15K in spend. But I had enough spend coming up, so it wasn't a big deal. But that's a really, really good bonus. 200,000 for 10,000 in spend. That's a lot less than those cards often have. 15,000 is kind of the new standard, especially with no lifetime language. That's really good. I haven't seen it myself, but thank you, QC Man 2000, for pointing us in that direction. That's really a good deal. Right now, we're kind of going to start into, in fact, I'm going to do it this month because my annual fee just hit on my business platinum card. And I think when I got it, I got 175,000 points last year on that one. And I think I'm going to downgrade it to the green card and then hope for some upgrade offers to get points to go back up. So if anybody's done that, let me know how successful you've been with it, because that's kind of where I'm thinking I want to go with that in the future as things move on. All right, let's see. The last thing I had on my little list of things to talk about today is the Amex Business Platinum. As I just mentioned, I wanted to know what people thought as far as, is it one, do you think the retention bonuses are better to go for that, or to downgrade, have kind of an offset annual fee for a while? Because, they're going to credit you back. And then like with the business green, and I understand somebody's going to say the business green card doesn't have any value at all. It does not. It is a dog. But the business green card is something that you'll get offers to upgrade to the business gold and the business platinum. And sometimes those can be pretty good offers, 50,000 plus, sometimes 75,000. I've heard of people getting 100,000 point upgrade offers without having to apply for a new card. So I'm kind of trying to decide, do I cancel? Do I downgrade? Or what should I do going forward on that? All right. Let's see if anybody has any other comments. The last thing I had on my list to talk about um, just has to do with point valuations. The point, really, two things: point valuations, and also some of the things that we love, but I don't know are all that helpful. So, for instance, when the points guy tells us that delta points are worth 1.2 and this, that, or the other, the reason I recently did a video on my own point valuations is because I don't know how helpful those are, because everybody's travel style. I mean, Dugras is on here. His travel style and mine, we talked about that a little bit on his live yesterday. They are completely opposite. So the way we value points would be just not even in the same ballpark, just very, very different. And so are they even helpful? I mean, are they even remotely accurate, since it's a totally different dynamic for every individual person? The other thing is that here in the YouTube space, and I do it too. So I mean, because it's fun, but there are the things in the travel community, the points and miles community, that are helpful. And then there are the things that are just kind of entertaining and fun. I remember on one of my What's in My Wallet videos, somebody says, these What's in My Wallet videos are my guilty pleasure, and I like to watch them too. I mean, they're fun, but are they really very helpful? Because everybody's financial state is very, very different. And then the other one that gets me is these, and I think I said this in my channel membership videos, one of them is that, I really like the tier lists on YouTube, where somebody, let me tell you what the tier, but part of the reason I like them is they make me mad a lot, not angry, but, just irritated, because like somebody will rank a card. I remember one guy was ranking the Delta Reserve card as like a D tier. And I have the Delta Reserve card, and I don't even fly Delta very much, but wow, I get a free companion certificate every year in first class, and that's like worth over $1,000. And the card is just 650, but then the Delta stays at 200, and then I use that Resi credit every single month, so I get that $240 at a restaurant I eat at anyway. So to me, the Delta Reserve is just like, it pays you to have it. So on my list, it would be like an A, not an S tier, but an A tier card. And this person was this exact same card. This is a dog card. This is a terrible card. So I think that's really interesting. How much of what we watch and how much of what we enjoy is really beneficial, and how much of it is basically just a guilty pleasure, just for fun, because it really doesn't have any utility to anybody except the person making the content. I mean, either way, it's fine, but I find that very, very intriguing as a question. So, um, QC man, can you downgrade the platinum and gold business to the blue business plus? I have upgrade offers on the blue business plus to those cards, but I never hear of people downgrading those cards to the blue business plus. I don't know. I don't. I mean, I could be very, very wrong, so I'm not stating an absolute fact here, but I think they're considered different card families. And so I don't know, but that would be great, because the Blue Business Plus is not a dog card. It's a good card. I mean, you're going to get 2x on everything up to 50,000 points, which I have one of those. I love it, but I don't know. I guess I'll find out when I call them to downgrade. So I'll keep you updated, perhaps in the next live stream. Frugal Dad Finance says, I'm downgrading the business gold to green tomorrow. They offered me 80,000 for 15,000 spend. And that's just garbage. I'll wait for the upgrade. Yeah, the 80,000, that's pretty good, but the $15,000 spend on a retention bonus, I mean, you get a new card for, well, on the business gold, that is what it is, and you get more points than that. But yeah, 15,000 on a retention. I'm doing the same thing. I mean, I'm going to downgrade all the way to that one. At least that's my plan, unless I could do that blue business plus. But I'm going to downgrade down to the green, and then hopefully get some good upgrade offers. Because the crazy thing about the upgrade offers, they don't usually have that huge spend requirement, or at least in not the ones that I've seen. There's one right now on my wife's personal gold to business to the platinum card, and I think it's a $2,000 spend for 75,000 points or something like that. So it's pretty good. QC Man 2000 Venture X is always in the S tier and Bon Boy Bevy the F tier in those videos. Yeah, and those are pretty accurate ones. I think that's because you kind of would have to know very little about the credit card space to put the Venture X in the lower tiers. And you'd have to know, I mean, that Bonvoy Bevy is just, oh man, it makes it. I actually think that American Express Business Green is better than that one. I mean, that one's got a high annual fee and you get nothing for it. So yeah, Dugras, put some smiley faces with stars in the eyes. Chad's Money Minutes. I finally made it. Hey, Chad, you're right here at the end. So good to have you. Good to have you here. Dugras, 13 watching, but only 14 likes. Yeah, that would help me out a lot. If you guys would 4 likes, excuse me. If you guys, I think it's up to 6 now. 7. There you go. Hey, that worked. Thank you, Dugras. I appreciate it. Somebody hit the like button. Well, that's kind of what I had for today. Anybody wants to throw any last minute comments in there, we'll discuss it. But like I said, I'm hoping to kind of get a regular time. I love how some guys have different times where they have a live stream every Saturday morning or every Tuesday night or whatever. My schedule hasn't allowed that yet, but I'm hoping to. QC Man 2000. Okay. Looked at the offer in my Amex app. The gold offer in my Blue Business Plus is not an upgrade, just telling me I can apply. So that kind of confirms what I thought, that it's not in the same card family. So you can't really downgrade to it and then upgrade back, because I think they're considered very different products. So, all right. Well, we have 14 in right now. Chad's Money Minutes, awesome channel, as is Dugras and some of the others. Thank you guys for tuning in and supporting the guy who's just getting started in live stream. So I appreciate it. And I guess I'll sign off now. Please like, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I'm at like 725 subscribers. I'm marching towards that coveted 1,000. So if you would do that, you can also look at my channel membership. It's just $2.99 a month. No commitment. You can cancel anytime and put out videos every week just for them. Okay. Mike, as we close off, says, what's the upside to get the Hilton business card, DC? Okay. I had that. I had the Hilton business card and I canceled it because I really liked it when I could get the certificate, the free night certificate for spending $15,000 on the card. And when they stopped that, and I know they went to 5X on everything. It was a 5X earning card. Yeah. 5X Hilton points on everything. Yeah. I mean, I'm the guy who tries to get outsized value on stuff, right? I'm the guy who likes to get 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 cents per point on my airline miles, but I can't find a way to make Hilton points that valuable. I mean, you can get over a cent per point, but you got to stay at some swanky places to make that happen. So I like Hilton. I have the Aspire. I stay at Hilton's and use the free night certificate and use the $200 credits and all of that. But as far as it being a good thing to earn on, yeah. So when they lost the being able to earn towards the certificate, I was out. I was done. So I canceled it last year. Okay. QC Man 2000. Yeah. Worse than the standard 15,000 for 3K. He's talking back about that, his offer to go up. The sub is currently 175,000. That's true, Mike. Thank you for that. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off now because my Sunday afternoons are pretty full. And so I just had about an hour slotted, but technical difficulties made it where I couldn't get on here as quick as I wanted. So I'm going to get better at it, hopefully. Thank you, everybody, for signing in. I got a few super chats today. That means so much to me. Thank you, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to look at the channel memberships, you can do that. But I'll see you here next time. And I appreciate you all very, very much.